Welcome to the New Mom Talk podcast, your go-to podcast for evidence-based answers to your burning questions about parenting. Join us as we dive into commonly Googled topics and hear from experts and real moms. Let's navigate parenthood together, one question at a time. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited about today's episode. This is something I've always been really curious about. So we're going to talk about the benefits of placenta encapsulation. We have Samantha Davis that's going to walk us through all of the information. I know that there really isn't a lot out there, so I'm really happy to have you on here. Samantha, I'm going to hand it over to you if you can start off with telling us about yourself and what you do.
Absolutely. Well, I'm really excited to talk about it. I feel like I talk about it to anyone who cares and wants to listen. So podcasts are always fun. So my name is Samantha. I'm the owner of New Health Placenta. I've actually been encapsulating placentas myself for almost 9 years in August. We're coming up on our anniversary. It's definitely been a labor of love, just becoming a mother a few months short of starting this placenta encapsulation business and world that we're in now. And it really, it was triggered by the birth of my daughter and the dramatic transition that it caused, both mentally, physically, support wise. And I was able to encapsulate my placenta. And the thought of really bringing that support into this space was very empowering, inspiring, and led to the last 9 years of my life. And having a 9-year-old and being able to model what it is to be a woman, be a mother, be a business owner has also really been a big part of this transition and one I'm excited to continue. So I'm very excited for all your questions. I'm wondering if you have any surprise ones for me that I haven't answered before. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, let's start off with the basic. What is placenta encapsulation and what is that process like from birth to the capsules?
Sure. So placenta encapsulation, it's more of an Eastern medicine practice. So traditional Chinese medicine is where its origin is, but it's become much more popular here over the, I would say, past decade in Western culture. And what it means is that we take the placenta, for us here at New Health, we steam, we dehydrate, and then we encapsulate the placenta into pill form. So we provide you with a recommended dosage to start, kind of like it's a supplement. Really, it's just a postnatal supplement. But the beautiful part of it that I love to, kind of bring awareness to is the fact that it's coming from you. Nothing man made, nothing synthetic. There's no additional ingredients aside from lemon, ginger, and cayenne pepper, which are mimicking the traditional version of encapsulation. We're not traditional Chinese practitioners because that is a whole entire industry and profession. So what we do is we mimic that model, and that's through the steaming and the dehydration. So, post placenta encapsulation, its goal is to support a woman's body post delivery, meaning things like helping to avoid postpartum depression, increase energy levels, lessen postpartum hair loss, improve milk supply, rebalancing hormones as a whole. There's so many benefits that the placenta can provide you with all of the changes happening to your body, again, physically, emotionally, mentally. So that's it in a nutshell.
I feel like you already kind of mentioned some of the commonly reported benefits. Would you be able to share any more on there that you may have not mentioned?
So for us, a lot of what we hear, see, do is all based on what moms are telling us. So I think that's really what's fueled the passion behind what myself, my team have been dedicated to doing, is because we're getting that real-time feedback, which honestly is the bread and butter of what we do, because you're hearing and seeing moms are telling other moms what they're feeling. My favorite part is when moms haven't done this with first pregnancies and then they do it for second, third. I've even had one do it after her sixth baby. And they see that dramatic difference. And of course, every postpartum recovery, every pregnancy is different, but they're able to really attribute a lot of that support to the benefits of their placenta. So I think for me, just to kind of, shift gears and bounce back, is the avoiding things like or lessening symptoms of baby blues and postpartum depression and anxiety. And with that, a lot of the attribution comes from hormones. So your placenta is what takes over for your endocrine system while you're pregnant. So all of those hormone producing organs that you naturally have take like a back seat, a reverse maternity leave, if you will. So when those take the back seat, the placenta takes over. But what happens is when you deliver that baby, your placenta comes out shortly after, and everything, every part of that hormone production goes right along with it instantly. So you're left completely depleted, which is why, if you've never had a baby, you hear about nonstop crying, postpartum rage, like your hormones, your emotions all over the place. And that is very real. That is what happens. But it's because partly all of that lack of hormone production, regulation, your body is like a wild, wild west. And so, with the introduction of the placenta, with the hormones in the placenta, you're able to kind of give your body that transitional support until your body kind of comes back to life, starts producing those hormones over again, which is why that benefit is probably something that I hear the most and something that I definitely promote the most. It was something that helped me. And I feel like postpartum depression is not something that's really educated or talked about as much as it should be because it does affect so many women. And they're all surprised. They're all taken aback by what exactly is happening. Most of their support system, unless they're versed in, delivery and birth and pregnancy, are just kind of like, we don't know how to support you. We don't know what to do for you to make it better. So just, long story short, I feel like that's the biggest one is helping to rebalance those hormones, helping to improve mood through that and avoiding or lessening that postpartum depression symptoms.
I can totally understand. And I mean, obviously, right? Having been a mom, we can all relate that to that recovery stage where, especially with first time baby, where you're like happy one minute and then you're crying the next, and then your hair starts to fall out. So then you're crying. And
Yes, exactly. Exactly. You're like, really on top of it, that has to happen?
yes, right. And then you're like, okay, yeah, I feel good. I feel okay. And then you try to get into a pair of pants. You're like, oh.
I don't. Exactly.
So, with all that, I wanted to ask, have there been any scientific studies done on placenta encapsulation?
So, as far as placenta encapsulation specifically, there is very little scientific research, and most of it, like 99% of it, is going to be anecdotal. Again, through what moms are talking about, what they're seeing and experiencing. But what I like to kind of, mention with that, because moms are taken aback. They're like, oh, there's no scientific research, but you can kind of dive into it when you look at sports medicine, when you look at pharmaceutical research, when you look at the beauty industry. There is so many studies and even products out there and things that you can learn about with what they're doing with the placenta in those industries. So supporting moms is not necessarily profitable, right? It's free, you're taking it, it's yours, you're not paying for it. But there's industries that get placentas donated and are able to do a lot with it. A lot of the big ones right now are stem cells. I feel like that's a big trigger word right now. Stem cells, stem cells. And your placenta is the base of stem cells, right? You've got the amniotic sac that's full of stem cells, umbilical cord blood, placental tissue. So why not use what they're using for that research and putting it back into your body? Those stem cells helping to heal and recover all of the damage, if you will, when your body has just gone through something so traumatic. So I think when you're looking at research as a whole, and again, what other industries are doing, you're really able to see the efficacy of the placenta and what it can be used for.
Hi, everyone. It's your host, Mariella. I want to thank you for listening and share some ways to show your continued support. You can rate and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Share the show with friends and family. Buy me a coffee to help with the financial costs of running a podcast. Follow me on Instagram at newmomtalk.podcast. And finally, subscribe to my newsletter. Thank you for listening. Yeah, you made a very valid point, especially on like motherhood or anything that has to do with moms. There really is not a
Can't
lot
make
of,
much money.
yeah, yeah.
Then you hear about like, what was it? Kim Kardashian, that I think she went down to Mexico and did a stem cell therapy for her shoulder injury, or heart surgery patients that use the placenta and the amniotic sac for recovery. I mean, it's wild. You're seeing it happen, you know?
Yeah, and it's really difficult to do studies on like moms, right? Like, how are you going to take these moms and like, oh, let's just see how it goes and what happens to your body, right?
It's fine. It's just a little science experiment.
So, with that, how can placenta encapsulation potentially? So, you kind of already did touch on this already. Support the postpartum recovery, the mood, the energy levels, all during the first few weeks. And I'm going to say like the first 6 weeks, because that's usually what moms get if they have parental leave,
If they're lucky, right?
if they're lucky.
6 weeks, that's your cutoff. You're good.
Yeah. Time to get back to
Um,
work.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. And run a household and take care and have a little tiny person bank on you for survival. I mean, there's a lot. So with placenta encapsulation, part of what's in the placenta are things like estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, but it also has things like prolactin, oxytocin, both of those hormones supporting mammary gland development, supporting milk production. You've also got things like vitamin B6, vitamin B12, all things that can help with energy levels. You've got iron, tons of iron that can help with anemia, that can help fight fatigue. And then if you look at fighting fatigue and improved moods, you're taking away or lessening symptoms of postpartum depression. So they cohabitate. They all work in synchronicity, right? They're perfectly designed for what you need. Granted, I do always suggest taking postnatal vitamins, any types of obviously medications that you're already on are suggested. So this is more like an additional support, not something I ever encourage to just 100% bank on. This is all I need. This is going to fix my life, right? Nothing can do that. But in conjunction with outside support, physical support, supplements, herbs, nutrition, water intake, all of that as a whole. And I think moms, when they're interested or seeking out encapsulation services, are much more aware of, holistically your body as a whole and what you need to support it. So I think, as a whole, those are probably the biggest pieces of the placenta in terms of support, those major hormones, those, thyroid stimulating hormones, which can help return back to pre-pregnancy size. And then, again, to mention stem cells, that is probably the biggest piece of all of this. You can't get stem cells anywhere else, not through a vitamin, not through a supplement, and they're yours. We do a lot of banking of different parts of the placenta, placental tissue, cord blood. Why not use that for you in turn for your baby? A healthy, happy mommy or no, what is it? A healthy mommy is a happy mommy, or a happy mommy is one of those. Both are
I
great.
know, happy wife, happy life.
So let's do happy mom, happy family. I don't know. There's something there. We'll coin something.
So, who would be a good candidate for placenta encapsulation? And are there any situations where you would say, probably should not look into placenta encapsulation?
Absolutely. So, two parts. One, it will benefit anyone that has had a baby. So, we've had surrogates, we've had anyone again that's had a baby, whether it's your first or your sixth. It's always something that can help because, again, your body has gone through this trauma. So, again, with a surrogate, it doesn't matter if, the baby belongs to the intended parents, it's still your physical body that needs the support. And then, in terms of when it's safe, when it's not safe, this is always a really great question. So, for us at New Health, the only time that we can't encapsulate a placenta is if mom is AIDS or HIV positive or has an active Hep B or Hep C infection. But the reason why I say that's the only reason, despite GBS, bacterial viral infections, meconium, or any type of fever indicating an infection, emergency C-section, the list goes on. We've seen it all, we've heard it all. And the reason is because of the process. So for us, we do process every placenta in a lab-based facility, which means that we have everything from medical grade decontaminants, food grade plastics. We have NSF certified lab equipment. Our encapsulators also have been doing this for just a little over 8 years and are all triple certified in handling bloodborne pathogens, food handling safety. So, again, with all of that to say that if you do have some sort of infection or that there is something going on or complication, we cover all of our bases. Because sometimes, what if mom forgets to tell you there's an infection? Or if mom forgets to tell you about a test result? We cover all of our bases. And then, as far as the process itself, we do meet CDC recommended temperatures for eliminating things like E. coli, GBS specifically. So within that steaming process, we're cooking it in its most gentle form. And then we're also dehydrating it at specific temperatures to kind of like double check our work. And this is why we won't do any type of like tinctures or raw placenta, which I know there's spaces out there that do. But for us, it's this traditional version that just allows us to, again, cover all of our bases.
Love that.
It's a mouthful.
Well, no, you want to make sure that people understand why you do it the way that you do, right?
Yeah, it's a tried and true process over the last decade or so. It's something that can't be taken lightly. This is, human DNA. It's human tissue. So there's a certain level of sanitation and safety that you just want to make sure that your provider is accustomed to.
Yeah. Well, do you have any other tips, suggestions, or recommendations? I will have all of your information linked in the show notes if anybody wants to reach out to you or has any questions wanting to look into having you encapsulate their placenta, they can do so that way.
Yes, absolutely. I guess the last thing I would say is how it all works. So check out our website. Of course, call or text us. We are open 24 hours a day. There's someone that's always available to ask questions because it's not something you're getting, a pamphlet from your OB for. So we have like a open door policy, but we do offer our services nationwide. We have a simple ship option. So if you're not in SoCal or Chicagoland area, we do offer that, but there's also specific direct pickup services in those two locations. But other than that, I feel like we've kind of gone over all of it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on and sharing all of this. I've always been so interested. And I see so many people post that they did it. So it's nice to see to learn about what the benefits are.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me on and sharing my knowledge with someone who wants to talk about it. That's always fun.
Thank you for listening. Tune in next week for our next episode. You can find us on Instagram for more updates and tips. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts and give us a review if you like us.